So today, you're going to learn the 5 things that you can do to be able to save money when it comes onto using Claude Code and how you can efficiently use tokens effectively when you are actually building inside of the application. Hi everyone, my name is Leif Wallace and welcome to Wallace TV, and on this channel I share advice, tools and motivation to help you become a better designer. So if you're new here, please consider subscribing. Now, over the past 14 years, I've been able to design for some of the biggest companies out there: British Airways, Adidas, Orange, and many others. And today I want to share with you why I'm liking using Claude Code, even though I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed with this AI rush. But I want to share with you how tokens could be holding you back. So let's dive into the video right now, and then let me break it down to you. So let's go through the key things that you can do. And today I'm specifically sharing with you how you can stop hitting your Claude Code limits. And what I'm going to be breaking down to you in this masterclass is context management, token optimization, and specifically the focus framework to help you know what to pay attention to as you are building in the platform. Now, every message that you actually are building carries the weight of the past. So you have to be mindful that the message cost at message 31 is definitely going to be less than the cost at number 1. But there are more things to consider versus just the number of messages inside of a Claude Code tag on a conversation. I want to break down to you the 5 things that you want to pay attention to. I'm going to show you them up front, and then we're going to go delve deeper into them as we go throughout the video. The number 1 thing is focus, fresh sessions between each task. 2, optimize MCPs and tools. 3, literally cut your Claude.md file and use CLIs. 4, use the right tools at the right time. And S is for settings and how you can adjust them to be right for you. These 5 things have helped me, and I want to show them how they can help you today. The first thing I mentioned was how you can have fresh sessions between tasks. This is one of the biggest challenges I've seen so many people forget to do. And I understand why, because it's so easy to keep chatting in the same conversation and do different things, because Claude is really amazing at building stuff, right? But the actual ability to start a new conversation and have context about that specific feature you're building in that specific conversation is a game changer. And I begin to practice this. One of the platforms I use with Claude Code is anti-gravity. I'll do another video on why I'm using anti-gravity. I use Cursor, and sometimes I'm just using Claude Code in the Claude application. But personally, I like using anti-gravity, but that's another video. But you can have different conversations throughout the whole time you're building in the application. So think about that. And if you're going to build something, this is why it's good to have a plan in place. Sometimes you might not just have a plan, you might just be building. But number 1, different sessions. So this is where you make sure you check the context window. Within the context window, before you've even started the conversation, there could be some tools connected that could be actually filling up your context window before you started building the thing you want to build. So this is where, let's say in the context window, you might use Opus that gives you 1 million tokens. If you use like any older Claude models like Sonnet, and I know they've got Sonnet 4.6 with 1 million tokens now, but previously it used to be 200 tokens limit. Within that 200 token limit, then you might have any connected MCPs that's taken anywhere with 30, 55, 80 plus thousand tokens. You might have a bloated Claude.md file, and that is where you've just thrown too many things inside the Claude.md so that it has so much to read before it starts building your thing. And so before you know it, you have capacity down, and that could be another big thing that is draining your tokens when it comes onto using Claude Code. So you really want to pay attention to that as well. Another thing that you want to be mindful of as well is this idea of planning and focus. I love this scripture in the Bible. It says, "For which of you, desiring to build a tower, does not first sit down and count the cost, whether he has enough to complete it?" And it's this idea of planning and focus. I'll do another idea about how you plan effectively when you're building inside of Claude Code. But specifically, I want to talk to you about focus because it's so essential when you go forward. So remember I spoke to you about the context window. So remember, between each unrelated task, one of the key things that you can be doing inside of the Claude Code conversation is do /compact. This compacts your instructions and it summarizes the conversation and reduces the full history with a summary and helps you move forward a lot easier without always feeling like you need to have this long context window. The next thing you want to think about is that it's best for hitting natural breakpoints. So within the same task, features that it's working on or bugs that's being fixed, compact is a great way to push forward. And a pro tip for you is use custom instructions like /compact, keep the database schema. So anything after that /compact command can really help do a lot more all at the same time. And this helps to protect any critical constraints from being summarized away that's super important from what you've built already. The next thing I want to talk about is the command /clear. This is super helpful for you. This helps you to like think about it, wiping the conversation clear entirely, starting in the same terminal. If you use terminal, this is why personally I like to use anti-gravity, because I can have like my different Claude Code sessions all in the same interface. I can spin up a browser, I can run multiple agents, but that's another video. But in the same way, this is really good for switching to unrelated tasks from any like you might be doing auth refactoring and then you're doing payment integration. So clearing the context is super helpful. And a pro tip for you is the compounding cost of mixing tasks is your biggest token drain. So old content makes AI worse at a new task. So you want to make sure you've got clear context when you're going forward. And the way I like to think about it is like, remember on our phones when like apps were all the rage, and even apps are super essential. Obviously you can't use your phone without having apps, right? But so many apps, when I look at my phone, I've got so many pages of apps that are what I would almost call dead space. I only use it for a little bit and then it's like digital dust on my phone. So MCPs can become that if you're not paying attention to what's been connected. So I remember beginning, I basically started to connect multiple MCPs at different times, depending upon what I'm building. I can see here, I connected Stitch twice, had them running at the same time. And then it's not until I learned this principle of checking the MCP connections, turn it off. If I need the MCP, I can always turn it back on, then use it. And then I can turn it off when I don't need it or I'm working on something else. So pay attention to this, because MCPs is super draining on your platform. MCP servers load the full tool definition into the context on every single message, not just when you're scored. One server can carry up to 17,000 tokens per turn. So if you run /MCP at the start of every session, disconnect any servers you're not actively using for that specific work block. So treat MCP connections like Figma artboards specifically with specific intentionality, and close when the work is done, because MCPs is a token drain. So like I mentioned to you, I even saw, even today, I had this pencil MCP running. I only need it for a little bit, and then I'm like, let me turn it off because I don't need it anymore. So this is a big thing to pay attention to, and it really helps you when you're working inside of Claude Code to have efficiency when you're working as well. Another thing to pay attention to is what I'm calling like the screenshot versus MCP. So when do you know specifically as designers to use a screenshot, or when do I know to like copy a link and have a link to my actual frame? This is a good conversation to have. So on one side, it's basically the screenshot is guessing. This is a lot of guesswork. It's using its closest common pattern that it can find based upon the screenshot and the quality of the screenshot that you've given it. Whereas the MCP is going to be drawing from any tokens that's being used. So if you've got it connected well and you know that you've used good tokens and you've named things well, then the MCP is super effective. And especially if you're trying to really build something that's like pixel perfect, MCPs are super good as well. So you want to match your input method to the hygiene of the design file. If you have a screenshot and it costs anywhere between 1,000 to 2,000 tokens, Claude is just guessing the spacing, hex close, structure, and visual layout. Early stages, iterations, early in the project, screenshots are very good. But in another conversation, you might use an MCP. The cost is much higher because it's a higher server overhead, massive XML payload being sent. But then Claude Code reacts exactly to the tokens that have been named. So think about when to use this. Only when your file deserves it. You've named your layers correctly, you've got your variables in and tokens connected properly, and you've got strict component use. The MCP returns the chaos of an untidy file. So tidy files, tidy MCP usage, tidy Claude Code output, much better for you. So it's just back to like best practice basically to get the best out of it. So the third point I want to highlight to you is to cut your Claude.md ruthlessly. On the actual Claude Code website, they have literally said, aim to keep Claude.md under 200 lines by including only essentials. So this is something you've really got to pay attention to. And this is why the idea of progressive disclosure keeps your Claude.md lean. This is where you can direct your Claude.md to any additional MD documents that you need it to read. For example, API standards, UI patterns, testing rules, you can direct Claude Code to call upon or look at for those documents when it needs it. If you put all of that information inside of your CLAUDE.md, you bloat your CLAUDE.md, and like I said to you earlier, all of this is a token drain before you've actually start building inside of Claude as well. So you got to pay attention to how you structured your CLAUDE.md, and when in doubt, just start asking Claude how it can optimize the CLAUDE.md file, create any additional MD files that you need, and actually tell Claude inside of your CLAUDE.md to go and connect to those through my CLAUDE.md file, and you'll have a much more efficient CLAUDE.md under $200 is better for you. Some quick questions to think about when you're building your CLAUDE.md so it works for you. So, does Claude already do this by default? Second question, does it contradict another rule that you've wrote somewhere else? Is it repeating existing content? Was it a band-aid for a one-off bad output that it just made in some chats beforehand? Or is it being too vague, like be more natural? Be very specific in your language, but try and use brevity, if that's the right word. Like being brief, being specific with your words is always super powerful for you as well. So and to help you, I've actually built a combination of skills, and I call them crisp skills. And it's a framework that I use to basically give AI agents intelligence when it comes onto design. And you'll get 9 skills in there that you can go and use for free. So if any of you at any time want to have skills for auditing, for design frameworks, for design improvements to design features, etc., go and download Crisp and play around with it and see how it works for you. I found it super helpful to help me spin up better designs much faster. And you can go and see this at getcrisp.design. So this next thing is like, you've got to use the right tool. My 4th point, you've got to use the right model and skills for the job that you're building. This is why I built my own skills to help me when it comes on to knowing what I need to do. I had to map out my actual workflow first to know what repeatable actions I'm doing inside of a workflow. And I built these skills, and I've shared it with you as well, so you guys can go and have access to this as well, to help you know how to do repeatable tasks better as a designer: auditing, ideation, feature creation, etc. So check out this quote from Boris Cherny before I go forward.
I think it's going to be a lot of the roles that are adjacent to engineering. So yeah, it could be like product managers, it could be design, could be data science. It is going to expand to pretty much any kind of work that you can do on a computer.
So you can see there from what Boris Cherny has said that we've got to pay attention, because look, it's going to expand to pretty much any kind of work that we can do on our computer. And this is why it's so important for us to not just understand just token usage, but also understand the models as well, knowing which is the right model to use for the right task, because models like Claude Sonnet is like the workhorse, can pretty much be used for every single type of feature you want. But sometimes you might need a model like Opus, where system design, multi-connected different architectural refactoring, complex conditions, etc. Opus could be great because it gives us more tokens in a context window, and it's just built for stuff like that. Let me show you this as well. CLIs is specifically going to give us precision over persistence, because MCPs stay on, they burn tokens in every message. So CLIs stay off until you are going to call them. Same result with a fraction of the cost. Look at here what Boris Cherny said. Open Claude Code or Cowork and point it at a Slack thread. That's all I did. So he understands the usefulness of using these tools whenever he needs it, not always just having it on always at the same time. Another thing to pay attention to is that you can change the effort of how Claude Code is being used. So you can tune the effort dial to match the complexity of a specific problem. Most of the time I have it on medium, but if there's any times I'm working on something that I know is super complex or it's really difficult, then I know I can tune it up to like work at a high effort level, and it helps me because I know it does even more specialist work as a result. Now, my last point is about the settings that you need that many people are either not aware of. So these are the 3 things that you can fix that maybe you haven't done yet. And if you want to know more, if you look in the description box below, I'm going to give you step-by-step instructions of how you can actually set this up for yourself as well. Before we go forward, let me show you what Boris has said about using Claude Code as well.
Don't try to box the model in. I think a lot of people's instinct when they build on the model is they try to make it behave a very particular way. They're like, this is a component of a bigger system. I think some examples of this are people layering like very strict workflows on the model, for example, to say like, you must do step 1, then step 2, then step 3, and you have this like very fancy orchestrator doing this. But actually almost always you get better results if you just give the model tools, you give it a goal, and you let it figure it out. I think a year ago, you actually needed a lot of the scaffolding, but nowadays you don't really need it.
So as you can see from what Boris has said here, it's really good to just give the model the tools so it knows what to do. So this is why if you give it like a massive Figma file, 50,000 lines of so much to read, one of the key things you can use is what we call a pre-tool use filter. And the pre-tool use filter actually tells Claude what to pay attention to when it is making a decision. And it has a targeted output, and it knows specifically what to pay attention to, even though you've given it something that could potentially take up a lot of context. So think of it like this. You've exported some kind of Figma file, you've put it in chat, and you don't have a pre-use tool hook set up. And these hooks are super important because it filters everything in Claude and it targets a specific payload. And then it knows when it actually starts a conversation, what it needs to pay attention to versus paying attention to the whole thing as well. And if you're in doubt, take your settings.json file that you can find inside of your root folder, and then that settings.json file, drop it inside of Claude and just have conversations with Claude about this file. What hook should I be using? This is the type of work that I should do. What hooks can I pay attention to, and rebuild my settings.json file for me? And then you can replace that file for yourself as well. And if you need to know more, just give me a comment below if you want me to create a document just to explain this as well. So think of it like this. You can find your file in the root document. When you found your root settings file, you need to add this little piece of code here on the left, which is autoCompactThreshold 75, because this triggers compaction at 75% inside of the default 83% that Claude still has as a default, because the clean context to summarize things accurately and without hallucinating what happens earlier in the session. This is super helpful, and it really allows Claude to be super efficient for you as well. The next thing is what we call claudeignore. So what the claudeignore does is it indexes everything in the folder it launches from, and this file tells it what to skip, and if it can't see it, it can't burn tokens on it. By the way, guys, don't worry, I've created a full document to break down how to do this. Just check the description box below. And this is set up in your project root, and it tells Claude what to pay attention to and what to ignore going forward. Another thing to do is to set your max thinking tokens. So what this does is that thinking tokens are billed as output tokens. This caps how long Claude reasons before acting, and the default is effectively capped, and it's set in your env variable, environment variables as well. And this basically allows inside your environment variables to be clear on how much tokens to be using as well. So all of this together, all these three things together really help with token usage. Threshold keeps compaction clean. I think ignore blocks out any noise at ingestion, so you don't need too much noise. The next one is token caps keep reasoning costs honest, so you're not doing too much here. And each one protects a different part of the same resource, and that's your context window. See here what Boris Cherney says next.
From the very beginning, we bet on building for the model 6 months from now, not for the model of today.
So you can see here from what Boris Cherney is saying that you want to think ahead. So if you put these settings in place, if you actually think cleanly about all of the things I've mentioned to you, I believe you will have a better token usage when using Claude. And just a recap, 5 things you want to pay attention to. Focus on fresh sessions between each task. Optimize MCPs and tools. Cut your Claude.md and use CLIs. Use the right tools at the right time. So this is about knowing which model to use, whether it's Claude Sonnet or Opus, etc. And make sure you have settings adjusted so that you can get the best use of Claude Code as you are building as well. So thank you so much for staying and watching this video. I really hope it's been really good for you. As a result, in the description box below, I've given you my get crisp skills that you can use to help you as a designer. And I've also going to provide you with the instructions of how to set up the 3 settings I've provided at the end of this video as well. So let me know if it works for you and how you find it. But in the meantime, I hope you have a blessed day. Look after yourself and look after your families. Take care and God bless. Bye-bye.